I am blessed to be in the presence of such divine light. Really just warms my heart. I want to wish everyone an absolutely delightful, blessed holiday season. Yep, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Whatever you think is coming down the pike in this holiday season, it can be great. So today is the day. There isn't any other day. In fact, there isn't any other moment. See, whatever power yesterday has is only the power that we give it. So when we look back and we bring up all of those memories, we can infuse them with all of the power of our consciousness, of our will to live. And that can have some interesting side effects. It can bring up perhaps anxiety, perhaps fear. In fact, most of the negative attitudes that we generate come from past experiences that we give power that generates more fear. And hence it limits what we can do with our life today, or seems to. It doesn't really, but it seems to. It can be overwhelming at times. When I don't know if anybody else does this, and most of this talk is going to be in the first person, so I invite you to take whatever works for you or resonates with you for yourself as well. But I have had that experience where, um, you know, I will meditate in the morning. I will do my prayer work in the morning. I'll be sitting on my I have a purple pillow. Honestly, I do. Bill can verify that. Um, and things will be delightfully pleasant. I will be in a state of peace. And then I open my eyes and life begins to happen. And my built-in forgettery goes into full overdrive. And within moments, I am anticipating or remembering. I don't know if anyone else has ever had the experience of, waking up feeling great. Things are going, like today is the day. It's going to be a good day, and then something just sneaks in between the coffee and the shower that says, yeah, but that thing happened. And then that one little thought triggers an avalanche of other thoughts that are associated with it. Well, that one thing happened because this thing happened. And then back when I was two, my best friend at the time took a handful of hair and pulled it out of my head because he was two, But it can just combine into this massive amount of negativity that we can generate in our own mind in just like that. And then we give it all of the power of all that remembered pain, all that remembered frustration, all of the negativity that we felt at that time, and we bring that into our life right now. And then when the day started and we were feeling like, yeah, today's the day, this is going to be a great day. All of a sudden is, I want to crawl back in bed and pull the covers over my head and just get through till tomorrow where it's going to be a great day again. These things can happen to us. And the real question is, how much power do we really want to give yesterday? Because there's not a thing you can do about it. It's done. It's over. Whatever it was, good, bad, or indifferent, it's done with. It's not what's happening now. Because what we really have is this moment right now to begin to change how we feel, to begin to change how we think. Those two are very closely connected. We can think something, and that'll bring up a feeling in response to that thought. And then that's giving power to the thought. And it doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative. So we have this opportunity in each moment to look and to assess where we want to place our power. Because we each have the power to change our thinking. We're not we may be guided by our past thinking, but we are not controlled by our past thinking. We have choice. We have volition. We can choose what we're thinking and what we're putting power into. I like to look at it and say, today is the day that I begin to change my life. Sometimes what happens after I say that, with all of the enthusiasm of prayer and meditation and a deep awareness and connection with the one, doesn't quite go that way. Sometimes it does. What happens is what trips me up is I can say that, and then immediately my mind, which is very good at making connections, it makes connections between past similar situations, which I may be facing in the day's journey, and those that seemed like they were that before. And then it says, uh-oh, red flag, this might happen. And automatically, I begin to become anxious in some degree, perhaps just a small degree, or perhaps it's overwhelming. And that anxiety places all of my power into something that hasn't happened yet, that may not happen yet, that I, in fact, have a bit of control over whether or not it happens the way that I had envisioned this anxiety generating event unfolding. The real question is, how do I get from one of those states of negative awareness to a state of positive awareness? How do I move out of whatever that is generating the fear of life itself that can stop me from living the life that we are meant to live? You see, there is this one power. It's the only power. We call it spirit or God. It is the power of life embodied in unique and wonderful ways in each one of us. And each time I cut myself off from that with fear or dislike or displeasure or any of the stronger versions of those, then what I have done is said to myself, I am not part of life. I am a rock. I am unique. I am unique, and so are you, just in our expressions. But the reality is, at the very core of our being, we are all part of this one power and presence. And we can use this power and presence in a very specific manner to move from a place of fear and anxiety to a place of love and activity. And those are really the basics of where we can move in life. We can move to fear or we can move to love. And you can use the lighter versions of those if you like, but the truth is, at the very core of it, we respond with either fear or love. If we respond in fear, we withdraw from the situation. We become defensive. We decide that we need to attack, perhaps, or completely isolate, not to be engaged in it in whatsoever. And what that does is we've given away our power to be a unique expression of a divine idea that is love expressing in the world. For me, what happens is I will get into that state and I forget, like I'm perfectly great. I'm in a place of peace and love as long as I'm by myself. The challenge comes as soon as I have to interact with another piece of God that may have a different opinion than I do, or a different outlook. And that can go one of two ways. I can open myself to love and truly say, you know what? However I feel about this person at the moment, the truth back of that feeling is that they too are a unique, whole, and complete expression of the divine mind, of that thing we call spirit or God. It has a dampening effect on fear. It has a dampening effect on negativity, to recognize that, in fact, we are all one. And whatever they're going through, and this is the real fun part, Spirit has put this person in my life at this moment with this attitude so that I can grow in love. I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced the fact that if they're denying something in their life, it keeps cycling around and around and around, and you get to keep experiencing that same thing and going, oh my God, why is this happening again? Well, it's happening again because you haven't moved out of the fear of the first incident that happened that way into loving the experience of life as an adventure in growth, in expanding our capacity to love, in expanding our capacity to act in love. So when we run across challenging people, I remind myself, or try to, usually after going down the South Road for a little bit, that I need to be acting and thinking about why this is happening now and what am I to learn here? What am I to grow into here? What am I to accept here? Because each one of us has a valid expression of God. Each one of us is a valid expression of God. That spirit required you and everyone you meet to be exactly who they are so that that spirit, that infinite love that is God, could experience itself in the unique form of you. So we have a real simple way of moving through that. Practical prayer, recognizing first that there is only one, and everything that I encounter is part of that one. I must be part of that one. You must be part of that one. There's only one. And knowing that truth and knowing what I know of it, what I have demonstrated in my life, what I have experienced in my life, is that because there is love, that love is mine now. And also whoever I happen to be engaging with, or whatever I happen to be engaging with. I may need to grow to get some perspective on what the love is expressing through this other entity as, so that I understand why, so that I too can grow and perhaps help them to express the love that they are as well. Recognizing that truth. One of the things about science of mind that I truly love and truly fear sometimes is that it's specific. It's very difficult. You can do it, but it's very difficult to pray to whom it may concern for whatever you want to send. Now, that may be actually nirvana at some point, but I haven't gotten there yet. You know, just a quick show of hands. Everybody's life, anybody here got a life that they absolutely don't want to change anything about? Yeah. Okay. So we all got a little work to do. You know, the thing is, how do we get clarity about what it is we truly want? Because what happens also is when I pray, I sometimes forget that I prayed for this outcome and I change my mind. It's like, well, no, maybe that looks good too, and I'll go over there. And then I wonder why my prayers aren't working. Mostly because I have dissolved my focus on what I want to bring into my experience into so many different things that it's coming in, but in really tiny pieces. And sometimes I miss recognizing that those tiny pieces are responses to a prayer. You see, there's this law that works in our lives. It's the universal principle. It's always, as Breen was saying yes. It's the only answer it has. But it will say yes louder if you focus your attention on the specific that you want to experience in life and allow that to unfold into this moment now. So when we do a prayer, we actually say the prayer in the present moment. We have to get ourselves into the awareness that the good that we are looking for is already present. It must be present. God doesn't have any time. No past, no future, just the one right now, all of it. So whatever good we're looking for has to be present in the moment. It becomes incumbent upon us to accept that, to allow it, to recognize it, to become grateful for it. Once we achieve gratitude for something, I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced this either, but once I achieve a state of true gratitude for a situation which I've been praying for, it's already happened. There it is. Sometimes I have to look and say, wait, but that's been happening, because my built-in forgettery has a tendency to not look at all of the things that are good in my life and say, you know what, I was praying for that. So what it comes down to is we have to find a way, individually and collectively, to accept and release the pain of the past and to allow and accept the love of the future. As we can move into a future of more love, more good, more prosperity, more harmony, more peace, more of us doing that, then those things will come to pass. That's the way it works. It can be challenging at times, which is why we have practical prayer. Because the practical prayer is very simply a statement of truth. And the effectiveness of a practical prayer is about stating a truth to the point where we actually come to believe it. Not just say the words, but to know the truth back of the statement. That's my whole job in a practical prayer, is to know the truth, as is yours. When we pray, when you know that it is so, it is so. So if we want more love in our life, we pray for more love in our life and be more loving in our life. There's a correlation between what we pray for and how we behave in the world. It's very difficult to pray for love and then go out on the road and start cursing people out. It has a canceling effect. This is true of any of our prayers. But if we go out on the road, I use the road because everybody has some kind of experience with it, right? If we go out on the road and the experience happens in which we used to start cursing people and instead took the attitude of, I hope they get where they're going because they seem to be in some kind of agitated hurry. Perhaps they need a little shower of love and a prayer, that they make it safely to where they are in the time that they need to be there. If I can do that, I find myself experiencing love on the highway. Unheard of. When we let ourselves pray ourselves into a better state of being, a better state of expression of the love that we know is there, of the good that we know is present in everything, we become the good that we would like to see in the world. As Reverend Bill was saying, when we change our experience, we experience things differently. It doesn't necessarily mean that the other outside of that has changed at all. But we have changed. And in some small way, or perhaps some big way, that has changed too. There are no big and little in God. There's only one, and the prayers work whether you're praying for something big or for something little, or what you consider big and little. So if you're praying for world peace, please keep doing so. It will take a lot of us coming to believe that world peace is the state that is now existent for it to be existent. If it's as simple as, I hope this interview goes well, pray for that too. Pray to recognize that this is going to be absolutely perfect or clearly not, and be able to move forward from there. In each moment, allow yourself to use a prayer to change your thinking in this moment so that the experience of the future can be the love that you want it to be the good that you want it to be, and that the experiences of the past can remain in the past and you can be at peace at them. It's much cheaper than 15 years of therapy. I love you.